Good morning, everybody. This was a video that I was not planning on making, but I really want to give it a shot and see what happens because I've been wanting to do this for years and never gave myself the time or the chance to learn. This past weekend I came by the compound to just work on some little stuff and ended up trying to restore the headlights on the 360. And it didn't end up going very well, but I ended up filming a couple phone clips kind of showing the process and me discovering the things that I'm going to be doing in this video. I don't know how well these are going to come back, but I'm gonna try my best. The worst thing that it does is nothing, so it's really like just kind of try it and see if it works. All right, well, I gave the old headlight resto a try, but the insides of these headlights are way too far gone. They're gonna have to be fully taken apart and restored. I actually decided to try detailing for the first time. I have never buffed a car once in my entire life. I've always had my friends do it. You guys know over the past 3 years, Aiden has been coming down here and detailing all of the cars that I buy before I build them. I love Aiden to death. He's a phenomenal detailer, car corrector, car restorer. He restores a ton of awesome cars. And I was planning on sending him down here to do the 360, but because it technically had a respray about a year ago, the car is in really good shape. I gave it a try on the left side, basically down this, and it came out beautiful. I'm actually really stoked on that. I'm learning as I go. I got a couple tips from Jeff. You guys know Jeff. He comes out here and does a lot of Adam's cars at the compound. He gave me some tips to start, and I've been going to town on the hood for the past 10 minutes or so, and I am seeing great results. So I think I'm going to get the rest of the hood finished up and then continue working on this thing. God, I love this car. Now, I don't know about you, but that looks pretty damn awesome. Now, usually I'm the type of person that likes to vlog my experience as I go, but this time around I wanted to try out narrating over my video as I do things. So you can see here I'm getting the Griots cart set up, and I'm going to be using surface prep cleaner to go over the panels of the car before I correct them, and that's just to help remove any residues, any oils that are on the panels beforehand so that I have a clean slate to work off of. So I'm going to start this off with Griots Fast Correcting Cream with their 6-inch orbital and a softer foam pad, just because I don't really know what I'm doing, and if I use an aggressive pad, I was worried that I was going to blow through the paint or screw something up. So it might take a few more passes, but at least I will know the process and not really blow through the paint. So that's what I did. Got my shot lined up, moved around the polarizer a little bit just so you could see the panel a little bit better, spread out the product over the panel and gave it a shot, did a few passes. I didn't use a ton of pressure, I just kind of let the weight of the orbital do the work for me. Ran through that process for about 30 seconds and then wiped it all off. After the first pass, I still noticed that there were some deeper scratches in the panel, and the clear coat still had a little bit of a chalky finish to it. I noticed that on the tops of both the front fenders. So I went over it one more time and got the finish that I was looking for. Once again, I'm not a detailer or car corrector by any means, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments from experienced detailers in this video telling me all the things that I'm doing wrong, but hey, if you don't try it, you're never gonna learn. So I finished up the second pass and I was actually really happy with the result on the fender. It shared the same look and finish with the hood, and I was really pumped. If you notice the front ends on these cars, they don't have two separate front fenders. They actually have one big fender that kind of wraps around the entire front end, and all the little sections around the headlights and stuff, I'm gonna have to go back and use a smaller pad on those, but for the time being, since I have the 6-inch pad, I figured I would just get these little corners and edges here, go around the front area of it where it's under the hood. These areas did not have a ton of damage, so I was able to do a single pass basically on both sides and get them to a finish that I was pretty happy with. But the only thing I can think of with these front fenders is I hope to God in the future that I do not bacon them or wrinkle them in any way from putting aftermarket wheels in the car, because that would suck to have to take these off. The driver's side fender had the same defects as the passenger side, just a couple deeper scratches and some hologramming from a bad buff job in the past. So I was actually able to get the driver's side done with one pass and get it to look exactly like the passenger side, exactly like the hood, and I was really pumped. Things were going better than I was expecting so far. And now you can see the front end, at least the fenders and the hood, are complete. They look beautiful. I am extremely happy with the results. Because I'm using the correcting cream, I'm gonna end up going back over the entire car one more time with the polish just to get that final look. When it came to the front bumper, I just mainly focused on the larger pieces, mainly the center section and the little areas in the air ducts to where I could get the 6-inch orbital inside of there. I will eventually go back through with a smaller pad just to get the smaller areas, but now the front end is complete. Gave the car a quick once over before I moved on to the driver's side door, and this had a lot of issues on the top area of the door where, you know, your hand is reaching for the door handle all the time. Had a lot of little swirls, but they were very minor. They were just on the surface, no real deep scratches. So this is where I encountered my first screw up, and I ended up forgetting to tape off the trim that goes along the bottom side of the window, and ended up removing some of the black finish that was on the trim, and decided to tape the trim up afterwards and do a second pass, but I'll just have to hit the trim with some restorer to bring back that black finish once I'm done. It took 2 passes to get the finish that I wanted on top of the door, and then one really good thorough pass along the center section of the door. And here you can see the before and after with the small scratches removed. It looks so much better, but I wish I could say the same for the headlights. They still look so bad. Moving on to the quarter panel on the driver's side, I ended up hitting the entire thing with the service prep cleaner once again, just to remove any residues or oils or anything like that. This is one of the panels where you can really see the bad holograms and swirls left from the previous buff job from the body shop. They did not do a thorough job and they did not get a good finish, so I really wanted to make sure that you could see a good before and after with this one, just to remove those holograms, remove those swirls, bring back depth, I guess you would say, to the paint. The paint job itself is really good. It's just the finish of the paint job needs a little bit of love. This was a monumental moment. This was my first ever tape line. Yep, it's not a detail video without doing tape lines. So hopefully it's a decent before and after. Get to peel this back. And already you can see the left side still has the holograms, but the right side, right where that light is beautiful. No more holograms, just a couple more scratches that I'm gonna eventually do one more pass on when I finish the entire quarter panel and get it looking beautiful. Let me know what you guys think about the narration on this video in the comments. I was biased on doing these for so long, but the more and more that I watch YouTube nowadays and seeing more people do this, I was really curious on trying it, so wanted to give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think. And here we can see the quarter panel finished with the correcting cream, and it looks phenomenal. You can see the before and after from the trunk, which I haven't touched yet, versus the panel, and it just looks amazing. Okay, it is the next day, and we are working on the trunk next, which is one of the parts that I've been most excited about to see a transformation from, just because of how bad the holograms, the swirling, and everything is on this panel itself. Finished this panel yesterday. You can see the difference is crazy between the two. And I know that this trunk is going to come back looking beautiful. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have put the new emblem on before I did this, but it's okay, we're going to work around it. But anyways, let's jump back in. So with the trunk, or hatch, I guess you would say, I learned something new. This entire time that I've been doing this, I have been using the same foam pad. I've kept the orbital on the same speed, and I've learned to just kind of change my own speed throughout the process, whether the panel is lightly damaged, heavily damaged, and for the trunk I went a lot slower, and it gave me much better of a result in the first pass, which is pretty cool. I ended up doing 2 or 3 passes, I believe, on the left side of the trunk before I was happy with the result. And here you can see this little before and after. You can see all of the holograms and the deeper scratches and imperfections disappear, and it just looks amazing. So I'm gonna kind of speed through the rest of the process, because now we're starting to repeat panels, and the passenger side of the car was in a lot better of a condition than the driver side was. So I was able to get the majority of things done in one pass. On the passenger side quarter panel, there were a couple areas from wet sanding that looked like they didn't get hit with the buffer, so I made sure to go over those a few times just to make sure that they looked perfect as best as I can. And I'm happy to say I was able to actually get most of the unbuffed wet sanding marks to disappear, and the passenger side quarter panel looks just as good as the driver's side. This car is transforming slowly throughout this video, and God, this is so cool. I love doing this stuff. I'm one of those people that kind of enjoys the tedious and slow-paced, monotonous kind of jobs. I don't know why, it's just so satisfying to me, and this one has been super fun. Alright, so we've now made it to the polishing step, and I'm going to be using Griots Perfecting Cream to finish off the entire car, which means I got to go over the entire thing again with a fresh new pad and get this thing fully polished. So instead of showing you guys everything, I figured I'd just make a little quick montage out of it, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so the final step of the process is gonna be ceramic ceramic coating the car, and before I do anything with that, I need to make sure that all of the polishing and correcting compounds are not on the paint anymore. So I'm going to go over the entire car with G-Technic's panel wipe and make sure that this thing is nice and clean. All right, we're on the final steps with this thing. It's time to ceramic coat the car. I hit up Colette and asked if I could borrow some Crystal Serum Light from G-Technic for ceramic coatings, and Ray is giving me a crash course on application, making sure that I do it the right way. You guys just saw me basically strip the whole car using G-Technic's panel prep. That just basically kind of does what the Griots surface prep cleaner does. It removes any contaminants from the polish and compound. So now all of that is gone, so we can move on to coating the car. Now, in terms of this whole entire project, I was definitely the most scared of the ceramic coating, just because there's so many rooms for error, and this stuff is like liquid glass. You know, you apply it on, you have to wait a certain amount of time, watch it flash, and then remove it in a proper step so that you get the protection that you want. But it's a really tedious process, and you really have to understand the product that you're working with so that you don't mess anything up. And thankfully, Ray has been a huge help throughout this process, and he was actually taught by G-Technic when they came by the compound last year. They gave him the same crash course that he's now giving me, so I was able to actually do this pretty confidently. Now, ceramic coatings have a dry time or a flash time. Some of them will leave a rainbowish finish, and that's when you know you're supposed to wipe it off. With this specific coating, the finish starts to separate, and once it starts doing that is when you're typically supposed to wipe it off and clean the panel. If you wipe it off before it separates, you may not get the protection that you want, and if you wait too long, you could leave high and low spots if it dries too much, and that's when you really screw things up, because the only way to fix that is to redo the entire panel from scratch, correct it, polish it, and then coat it again. And throughout some of these time lapses, you'll be able to see the product start to separate and dry, and then that's when I wipe it off. I actually had to use 3 separate rags for wiping the coating off. The first initial rag to wipe the majority of it off, and then the second and third rags to just clean up the excess. This stuff dries like glass, it dries like a rock, so if you use the same rags for the entire process, eventually your rags are going to get real stiff and they're going to start to leave scratches in the paint, so you have to swap out your rags throughout the whole process. You're going to end up going through an entire bag of microfibers doing this. But once I did the first couple panels, I got into a groove, and I was actually really having fun with this. The finish that it left on the car was absolutely insane. I went into this project extremely nervous, and I left the project pretty confident, which is something that usually doesn't happen that often. Usually I have to do things a few times before I really get the hang of things. And I'm sure there's a ton more for me to learn in the future with this, but I would say for my first paint correction job, this actually turned out really, really nice. The next day, and I finally was able to see the car after it was coated, after everything was done, and this thing just looks amazing. I am so happy with the turnout of this car, but there's one person that I need to get approval from. Hey, hello, sir.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, if I can figure out how to do things.
It looks so good, bro.
Dude.
Jesus. How many hours did you spend on it?
Probably like a good 25.
Yeah. Dude, it looks sick.
I ain't never done it. I was just really curious if I could do it.
Yeah, dude, that looks good.
It ain't no Aiden it
looks spectacular, dude. Damn. Did you coat it or what? What did you do?
I did. Yeah, I did Serum Light.
Bro's a detailer. Let's go. Detailer bike unlocked. Yeah, the lights in that shop go nuts against that paint. Damn, dude. Let me see the side. Yeah, that's farting, kid.
I know that it's tradition at this point to have Aiden come down here and detail my cars when I get them, but I don't know. I think I just felt compelled to try this for myself for the very first time. And I think because this car had a fresh respray not too long ago, I felt pretty confident going into it. It's got the Aiden approval. I'm ridiculously pumped on how this car turned out. I'm definitely going to keep practicing detailing on future cars, maybe my other cars as well, just to kind of keep them looking fresh and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of filming, this style of video. I've never kind of really done it before, but it was a lot of fun to make. And I hope that if you guys are trying to detail stuff out there and you're nervous about doing it, that this video might help you and you guys can try it out for yourself. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys very soon.